Ganesh Institute of Management Studies. A premier institute is now ready to prepare future managers. After becoming successful name in the field of Diploma Engineering, +2 and +3 Science and ITI, our group has ventured into management education. The institute is approved by AICTE and Biju Patnaik University of Technology. It provides 2 years MBA and 5 years integrated MBA program in different specializations. It is located on the green lap of Mother Earth at capital city Bhubaneswar. The institute started with primary motive to produce managers with skills required for corporate world. We are well equipped with fully Wi-Fi campus, well-maintained smart classrooms, well-established computer labs and library. Our trainers and mentors are well experienced and pioneers of this field. They provide domains as well as add-on knowledge in functional areas. We are here to serve and nurture the future business world with lots of commitments. Join us to write your success story here.
Management Institute here in Bhubaneswar, in the eastern part of India. We offer MBA programs. The Management Institute was incepted recently, but we are into academics since last 3 decades. The promoting body is already into academics. We have different programs, Diploma Engineering program, then Industrial Training Institutes. We have science streams in 10th and 12th level. Then we have in the graduation level, basic science programs. In health sector, we entered into nursing program recently. We have 2 campuses in Odisha, one in Bhubaneswar, which is about a 20-acre campus. And we have another campus which is about 90 kilometers from Bhubaneswar in Jaspur town. There we offer similar programs, and the nursing program is also offered there. And in total, about 3,000 students study different programs. In regular basis, we conduct different events. And this workshop is one of them. Thankfully, we have got all the panelists from abroad who have given their consent and joined this program. We have, let me introduce the panelists here. We have got Amrita Pasgarkar, who is an entrepreneur and crypto enthusiast. In the past, she worked as supply chain innovation expert and led blockchain and robotic process projects on her prior jobs. I welcome Amrita Pasgarkar to this workshop. Our next panelist will be Mr. Ricky Kwan. He is a crypto technologist and he works with Bitcoin since last 10 years. Professionally, he leads various strategic initiatives in business transformation such as supply chain, order management, finance, analytics, machine learning, and likewise. I welcome Ricky Kwan to this workshop, sir. Our next panelist is Ben Lowe. He's a professor in Seton Hall University in USA. He teaches cryptocurrencies, blockchain, Ethereum, and prior to that, he was teaching in the subjects like financial technology, fintech, entrepreneurship, and innovation. He had led, prior to this teaching profession, he was earlier associated with Incorporate and handled several technologies in cloud, blockchain, big data to improve the supply chain performances. I welcome Sir Ben Lowe to this program. Our next panelist is one of my friends. We studied together here in Odisha, Mr. Sarandhar Mahatwa. He, in fact, we were sharing roommates. We were roommates in college time. I thank him for helping me organizing this event. And since last 25 years, he is in the IT profession, and he is currently the blockchain engineer in New Jersey, USA. He has a patent in blockchain, and he is an AWS certified professional. Since last 25 years, he is into several fields in the IT services, IT development and services. And I also welcome him to this event. Now, talking about this workshop, thankfully, we have all the experts who have joined this program. I'm not aware of much aware of this technology, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and blockchain. All the experts are available. I think we'll have a wonderful session of this we are learning from these experts. And there are several questions which have been raised by the participants during the registration. I have shared all those questions, and several other questions have been also taken up, and those questions will be answered during this session. And hopefully all the participants will get the answers. They will have an idea of what is Bitcoin, what is the technology behind Bitcoin, that is the blockchain, and the several Bitcoins platforms or cryptocurrencies available in the world, and what are the ways, means to invest in those currency. As Prashant Bhai already said, that we are not here suggesting anyone to invest in cryptocurrencies. Here we want to send the message that another type of currency is available now, And this is probably is going to change the financial market, the banking system, the economy in future. I'm not going to take much of your time. I now request Prasant Bhai to carry on the program. Thank you, Prasant.
Thank you, everyone, once again. So this Bitcoin is now internationally telecasted, and it is on a live stream, but in a private mode. So very soon we will put it in our YouTube channel for your reference or for your understanding. So right now we are not permitting anyone to record this session. So kindly cooperate with us. Now I will invite Sarang Bhai to say a few words on this. Sarang Bhai. Unmute.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. I think today we have the largest crowd, and thank you for our panelists. I'm really thankful to panelists for getting that time. Rick has very busy schedule. Same with Ben and Amrita. So I was really hesitant initially to approach them. Initially, I approached some crypto traders who were one in Australia and someone in US, but they were still talking about the trading. So I was not feeling comfortable to bring them and start as a trading. Rather than hesitantly I asked Ricky that we work in the same place. So so immediately Ricky agreed, and after that I approached Amrita and Ben, and both agreed. Then I was really happy. Then we started discussing about this program. And Subrat already introduced.
Crypto is financial freedom.
The opportunity
is universal, more equitable,
programmable finance. Crypto enables a more fair, free, accessible, and transparent financial system
in a place that's safe and secure.
I pay my barber in Bitcoin.
I donated using crypto.
I had to get gas, and I used my Coinbase card to purchase it.
I used crypto to buy my first house.
Crypto is freedom.
Hundreds of millions or billions of people will be able to use these systems.
Crypto is the internet of money.
Creating more economic freedom in the world is one of the biggest levers we have to improve societies.
Crypto is the future of finance.
In open source.
In accessibility.
In math.
In blockchain.
In Satoshi.
In engineers. In decentralization, I trust.
There you go.
Okay, so, all right, great. So let's start with what cryptocurrencies are actually. So a cryptocurrency is a digital currency, which means that it does not have a physical component associated with it. So usually when we talk about currency, we see that it is, you have a bill, you have a note, or you have a coin. So a cryptocurrency is completely digital. It only resides on the internet. It is designed to work as a medium of exchange, which means that you can use it in exchange of goods or services, similar to how regular currency can be used. It is managed through a computer network. So it is, we will talk more about how that works, but basically on the internet, we have computers which are participating in maintaining that currency. And because it is managed through a network of computers, it is not reliant on any central authority, such as a government or a bank. So it is a democratic currency. And let's go into the next slide, which will give you a little, I'll like to share a story that will give you an idea of how that works. So to explain how cryptocurrencies work, I would like to share a story about how money operated in 500 AD on a remote island. It's called the island of Yap. It's in Micronesia currently. It's in the Pacific Ocean. So on that island, they would have rice stones. So you see that image on the left-hand side. These rice stones were over 200 kilograms. And everybody had visibility to them. They were not something that you would move around. So how do you use that for transacting? So all of the other Yappies in the community was called the Committee of Yap people, and the people were called Yappies. So what they would do is that they would keep mental records of who owns what. So this particular coin belongs to person A, this belongs to person B, and so forth. And everybody knew which coin belonged to whom. And if there was a need to make any kind of transaction, say I want to buy, I have one stone and I want to buy a house from a carpenter. So I am going to announce to the entire community that, okay, I am making this transaction. I want to transfer my coin to Mr. Carpenter. And what would happen at that point is that everybody now makes a mental registration that, okay, this coin used to belong to Amrita. Now it's going to Mr. Carpenter. And everybody's knowledge is updated at the same time. And the public knows whom it belongs to. And there is no central authority keeping the records. So what were the advantages of this? One, that there was no central authority, which means that there were no fees that were being charged by that central authority to maintain that knowledge. There was no rules that the central authority was making up on their own to keep that knowledge and to allow that transaction. And there was no dependency on the central authority if the central authority is sick or not available. Then it does not stop the transaction from going through, because there are many other Yappies that are going to validate that transaction for me. And apart from that, one incident also happened that they were bringing that stone back from the island where they used to quarry it. And the boat had an incident and the stone sank to the bottom of the ocean. But the Yappies concluded that even though we don't have visibility, we know it exists there, we can still use that for transacting. So this gave a system of trustless trust, because you are not placing your trust in one place, but the trust exists because everybody has knowledge about it. Now let's try to translate that to cryptocurrency. If we move that to a digital world, a digital currency that is secured by cryptography. So what that means, cryptography is basically a way of communicating such that it is secure, and it has been some logic has been applied to it so that it is only the intended parties can see that transaction, see the details of that transaction, and have access to carrying that transaction out. So if we now consider that instead of the Rhinestone, it is a digital currency, say something like Ethereum, it is on a public ledger. So instead of in the Yappies, adult Yappies community's brains, these ledgers, it's being maintained on computers across the network, and we have independent parties verifying these transactions. They are called miners. The cryptocurrencies are also immutable, which means that one cannot go back and change it. The blockchain network is organized in such a way that every transaction is tied to the previous transaction, and it becomes a part of its history. So when you're posting a new transaction, you cannot go back and change one of the old transactions. If you want to have any corrections made to the transactions that have been posted, you need to add a new transaction that will compensate and will do what you need it to do. You cannot go and update it. It is also decentralized, meaning that similar to the trustless trust system on the island of Yap, it is spread across the world, across the internet, and there is no one central authority keeping the records, which means that it's very difficult to cheat the system. You cannot just claim to make a change to the system to try and grab somebody's coin, because what that means is that everybody has to be on the same page. More than 50% of the independent parties that are participating in verifying these transactions, you will have to cheat everybody at the exact same time, which is an impossible task to do. So that makes it secure. It's also pseudonymous, which means that the digital identity of the sender and receiver of the transaction, that can be concealed. So you don't need to provide your personal information to be able to create a digital identity to participate in trading in cryptocurrency. And Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency that started. After that, Ethereum came up. That's the other major cryptocurrency that we have in the market. And that introduced the idea of smart contracts. Smart contracts are self-executing pieces of code that are resident on the blockchain network. So it allows for certain transactions or certain pieces of code basically to get executed as though it's a contract when certain conditions are met. So for example, in the simplest sense, maybe I want to make a transaction. I want to give 5 Bitcoins to Ben. And I am going to say that on the 28th of February, I'm at 9 a.m. I want it to execute that. I'm going to give 5 Bitcoins to Ben. So if there is a smart contract that's present on the network, that will detect when that condition is met and execute that piece of code, and the transfer will automatically take place. So there are various, this is a very simple example, but there are a lot of complicated pieces of code that can exist on the network, and Ricky will go into more details about that. So I hope that gives everybody an idea of how cryptocurrencies work and why it is different than regular currencies, where we have a central bank or the government monitoring what and controlling who owns what and is able to keep a track of it and is involved heavily into making rules and regulations about it, versus this is more of a democratic currency which is available and controlled by all of the people that participate in that network. All right, with that, we can go to the next slide. So currently, this is from this morning, the global crypto market cap is $1.79 trillion. You can see that Bitcoin is the highest ranking in terms of the market cap, and next followed by Ethereum, Tether, BNB, USD Coin, XRP, and there are millions and millions of currencies. And why is that? Because the main cryptocurrency Bitcoin idea that was first launched by Satoshi Nakamoto. The interesting part about this is that nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. And that's a mystery. There have been claims. Somebody thought that one doctor was Mr. Satoshi Nakamoto. Somebody has claimed that they were Satoshi Nakamoto, but there has not been any conclusion on who that identity is. But basically, they had released a white paper about being able to use this system of trustless trust for digital currency, and that's when Bitcoin actually started. And now it has grown into a tremendous market cap, and is definitely something that even if you don't invest in it, whether you invest in it or not, of course, this is not anything that we are encouraging. This is just about making people aware. But it's definitely something to be aware of and something that you should know is happening in the world around us. So that's all I would like to share for now. And we can move on to the next slide, and Ben will take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Amrita.
We use money every day, but we rarely appreciate its power and its flaws. It's a tool that has been at the center of human progress. And as we build bigger and tackle complex problems, we're going to need the best tools available.
We have a global economy. We're going to need a global digital currency.
Cryptocurrency is going to be a great democratizing force for the world because it's going to level the playing field and allow anybody with a cell phone to access financial services.
This is going to transform how we think about a real global economy. I think in order to understand its importance, we first have to define what currency means. What currency does is it actually allows us to agree upon the value of something. It's almost like a communication tool.
There are different ways of coordinating human beings. One way that you can do that is with money. You can incentivize people to try to work on the same thing at the same time.
We started off building simple systems like a bridge crossing a river to very amazing things like rocket ships. We went from interacting with our neighbors to now transacting with each other around the world. And we want to make sure that people can move money freely. And our current financial system just doesn't enable that.
So the current systems are very centralized, and so we have big banks and big governments. There's a lot of middlemen who make things incredibly inefficient.
When you talk about the problems with the existing financial system, you can go to a situation like Venezuela where money is being printed and folks' savings are basically being destroyed.
The value of their wealth has been completely eroded. I think a lot of us in the United States sort of take this idea for granted that if someone gives us money, it'll be in our bank account and it's not going to disappear or be taken away from us. And that's really a luxury that many people in the world don't have at all. There are about 1.8 billion people in the world today who have a cell phone but don't have access to any financial services. And what's really powerful about cryptocurrency is that it lets anybody, if you just have a smartphone and internet connection, participate in the global economy.
What cryptocurrency does is takes the stability that we have and gives it to the rest of the world.
If I have a dollar bill, I can hand that directly to somebody else. There was no bank in the middle there. With digital currency and blockchain, it's actually more similar to cash yet again, where I can send something directly to somebody else and I don't necessarily have to go through middlemen like a bank or a credit card company.
We can go back to how we normally transacted, which is directly with each other without all these giant central parties in between.
When computer scientists talk about the concept of so-called decentralization, what they mean is to avoid this idea of a single point of failure.
A single point of failure like we have with institutions.
If you have a single bank and that bank has all your money and then that bank fails, well, everyone's out of money. Whereas if you have lots of different individual nodes, hard drives and phones and so on that have some money, well, they're probably not all going to fail at the same time.
So you no longer need the middleman to keep track of an internal ledger. All these computers are writing everything down for you.
That network effect makes it unbreakable.
So technology makes us richer and wealthier because you need less time or less money or less effort to get something done.
Right now, when people think of crypto, I think they think of investment.
There's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of talk of prices and how much money has been raised, but it's really important to see past that.
It'll shift to people actually using cryptocurrency to buy goods and services and transact in the economy.
And that's not just send money back and forth, that means employ each other or fund each other.
A more global economy is important because there is talent everywhere, but opportunity is not evenly distributed.
In a world where this technology is fully adopted, it won't matter what country you're born in. All that will matter is that you have a mobile phone and internet connection, and you have skills and knowledge to learn, and you can contribute to the global economy. You can benefit from the world, and the world can benefit from you. Think about what kind of economy we could have if we had a global currency that we were all responsible for and all invested in. It opens up opportunity for everybody.
Just being able to trust that if I do good work in the world and someone compensates me for it, I will be able to keep that wealth. That's such a powerful idea that it actually encourages people to try to do more good things in the world.
If you've got lots of people who are invested in each other's success, literally, they're invested in each other's success at a broader level.
I think cryptocurrencies are going to be as impactful to humanity as the internet has been.
Digital currency and blockchain can bind us in ways that we wouldn't be bound before.
Ben. Hey Ben, unmute yourself. So here is Ben, our next speaker. So Ben will speak 10 to 12 minutes on this Bitcoin. Go ahead, Ben, please.
Okay, yeah, thank you for having me speak on behalf of this group. Can you share the slides?
Sure, just give me a moment.
So what I'm going to do is present two ways of thinking about Bitcoin that has been very helpful for my students. And the first way I'm going to present is as a currency, as a Bitcoin currency. So if we can look at the graph. Are you presenting?
Yes.
Okay.
Going to the next one. So this is your graph.
Yes. So if you see this graph, this is a graph of, to me, it's like a history. It's a history of Bitcoin. This is a graph of relative to Bitcoin in terms of US dollars over the period since 2016. So one of the things that you can see very clearly, it's been very volatile recently. It's been as high as in mid 2020, as high as $69,000. So single Bitcoin costing $69,000, but within a few months, maybe less than a month, it drops down to about $33,000. So you basically lost half your value, but it rises very rapidly. And within a 24-hour period, you can see that it traded at $20 billion in a 24-hour period. And the current price, as Amruta had pointed out, it's roughly around $40,000 for a single Bitcoin. And it roughly trades probably on a daily basis between 5 to 10%. So that gives you a little bit of current history of how the Bitcoin has been trading. The other part that's interesting about this graph is when did Bitcoin start? So Bitcoin starts, like the video said, around 2008, 2009. And as Amruta mentioned, it was really proposed and started by Satoshi Nakamura. So he basically created Bitcoin. But when he created it, it was mainly about he needed some sort of currency so that people can buy things and purchase and transact. It was not meant as a means of making money off of Bitcoin. It was to trade Bitcoin, but it was actually to execute transactions, purchasing things and buying things. That was apart from your currency, like in the US, it's the US dollar. It's apart from your current currency in your country, which is a very good thing. So sometimes when a country doesn't do too well, their currency gets devalued. And sometimes when a country does well, it basically appreciates. So your currency in your country can go up and down, making it very unstable. So in some way, a currency that's outside the system is a way to control the volatility, as well as maintain basically the value of your portfolio. So what Satoshi had created was something called a bankless, or as Amruta stated, a trustless currency. So as the video showed, in our world, we have banks. We need banks to transact money. We have to get mortgages. We have to get credit agencies involved. We have insurance companies, all these different organizations that we use to create a trusted system of currency so that we can purchase things with the ease of knowing that what we purchase is what we're going to get. Satoshi said no. He said, no, I want to create a trustless system, one that I can transact between parties in a way that I know I'm going to get the good, as well as I can, I don't need to depend on a bank to do this. I don't need to depend on my current currency in my country to do this. It's a trustless environment, but one in which I can trust that I can get the good, I can spend the money and get the good. That's the benefit of Bitcoin. We have a current example of Bitcoin right now. Oh, could you just keep it on this graph? That would be great. We have a current example. It's a prime example of how Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are using. So you have right now Russia attacking the Ukraine. Russia is attacking Ukraine, and of course, Putin's a smart guy. He basically said, "I know that the world is going to do sanctions against my country, Russia. How do I protect myself? How do I protect my country from people doing sanctions?" But what are sanctions? Sanctions are basically stopping the banks from transacting anything with Russia. They use SWIFT transactions. These are all run by banks. What did Russia do? They knew that these sanctions would be placed on Russia. They ended up going to cryptocurrency. They're migrated, in the past few years, they migrated to cryptocurrency in order to protect Russia, so they can continue to do all the transactions. They're protected against their sanctions because they don't depend on banks. This is a bankless system. And then it's apart from, so when, basically Russia, when the banks started closing up, the, Russian stock market crashed. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm cryptocurrency. I'm on a different currency. I protected myself. So the idea behind this is to create a bankless, trustless system. It's a way to protect yourself and, potentially a way to make money. Can you go to the next slide?
Yes.
So I want to talk a little about the attributes of Bitcoin and also put it in perspective. This is the second way to think about Bitcoin and about cryptocurrencies. So Amruta talked about all the features of blockchain. And then there's these other things that I just want to call it simple, which is the cryptographic identities, which keeps you very private on the system. And also something called the consensus protocol. In Bitcoin, it's called proof of work. But before I even talk about these are all these different words. Think of blockchain like the internet. So we all know what the internet is. The internet is a network of computers that have been orchestrated together with software to allow us to transact, communicate, purchase everything across this thing called the internet. And think of Bitcoin as an application on top of the internet. So think of Bitcoin as merely basically a software programmable currency, right? And I'm going to program into it something called a consensus protocol. So how can I prove or justify a transaction that's made between two people? I'm going to bring in a third party that's going to validate my transaction. So these are all software programmed features that I'm now going to call it as part of Bitcoin. I'm going to also program in the ability to make these transactions pseudonymous, meaning that they basically are done with, cryptographic identities. So again, features that are built into Bitcoin. So think of the Bitcoin as blockchain as just like the internet, but specialized to carry all these transactions. And think of Bitcoin as just merely an application on top of blockchain. I hope that helps. And if you can go to well, actually, I'll talk about another part. In order to get onto, let's say you want to trade Bitcoin or want to get onto Bitcoin, you use software, again, an application. And I've traded on using Coinbase. There's other places like Kraken, Gemini, FTX. Again, these are just applications that you can download and get on and basically purchase, different cryptocurrencies. They all trade mostly a lot of different cryptocurrencies. And then can you go to the last slide? And this is basically going to reiterate what Amruta stated. Yes. And just the same words that what are the benefits of Bitcoin? Again, it's pseudonymous. You heard Amruta state this, and allows for cryptographic or unknown identities to be accountable to each other and transact. It's democratic, meaning decisions made through this sort of consensus protocol, a proof of work that requires that doesn't require a certain amount of trust. And then it's a ledger of truth, uncensorable, meaning that it's difficult to be controlled by one party, meaning it cannot be controlled by a bank, and distributed, where there's no central point of failure. So it's basically a distributed network of different transactions across this giant network of blockchain. And that's what I would like to present. Oh, by the way, there's, well, I'll talk about it later in questions. But thank you.
Thank you, Ben. thank you very much for your insight into Bitcoin. So, dear audiences, wherever you are, so you have put some questions in the chat box. We are recording the chat box questions, but already we have got more than 20 questions from before. So after the session, means like after Ricky and Sarang Bhai, we will ask all your questions to our panelists and we will see how much we can take. So kindly cooperate with that because there is a time crunch here and we are following strictly regarding those time thing. And now we will go for another video for 2-3 minutes on this Bitcoin.
Can you guess who I am? I create and maintain life on Earth. 70% of the planet you live on is made of me. I am the world's life source. 60% of your body is made of nothing but me. Drink me, use me, but please don't waste me. Remember, I cannot be created. There is a solution to keep me clean for generations to come, which is combining blockchain and nanocar plus water treatment technology. And this is Koineru, the currency of life. For more information on how you can participate in keeping our water resources clean, visit www.koineru.org.
So now it's your time to save your property, but judiciously and with a controlled manner and with your proper understanding. That's why we are here. So as we told, we are just suggesting, we are just giving you some insight into it. And this is just in a fundamental level. But you need to study, you need to go dive deep into this swimming pool of Bitcoin to understand it properly. And now I will call Ricky Kwan. So Ricky, you may join the session, unmute yourself.
Hey everyone. Hi everyone. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to learn about the Global ODIA volunteers. It's really great to hear a global collection of volunteers really making a difference in this world. So hopefully you can learn something from me. Amruta and Ben and the team here has talked about a lot about Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think they kind of set the stage. And maybe if you can share the slides, we can start from there. I'll try to speak a little slower because I'm a very fast talker, but I think the video that you saw just previously, right, talking about how the world changes since 2008 when the financial market crashed, right? And that's when, as Amruna mentioned, Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever that person is or that group is, invented Bitcoin, right? And it's all about creating a trustworthy financial system that all people can benefit, right? And as you can see, we have some challenges out in this world, and hopefully this new system can take hold and be the system of the future, perhaps, right? Potentially, right? But I want to talk about my story here and how I got here with Bitcoin, how I got interested 10 years back. And many of you, I don't know, some of you are probably very close to the technology and some of you are very new to it. It doesn't matter. Whenever you want to start, it's never too late because it's only the beginning. And my story is I was at a call center working on a project and I was sitting there working my typical job, just like everyone here. And I had a couple of consultants after hours, after 6 p.m., they start working on something. They're talking about something else other than the project that I was working on. And I asked them, why? Like, what are you guys doing? And they said, Ricky, do you know what Bitcoin is? I said, I don't know what it is. It's like, hey, you can actually mine money by solving math problems on your computer. And there's no way you can do that. I don't understand how, right? And they literally, I went around and I saw their computer and they literally ran a script to solve a math problem to get a Bitcoin. Now, it's not that easy because you need the computing power to do the work. That's why Ben was talking about proof of work, right? You have to solve math problems to mine the Bitcoin, right? And that's happening today, just so everyone knows, right? And that's why the market's growing, people investing, but also you can mine to get a Bitcoin. So that was my journey into mining. I started mining, and then I realized, okay, it's really hard to mine because you need big machines to mine the Bitcoin. Then I said, okay, why don't I jump over? I heard about Dogecoin. So I started mining Dogecoin 10 years back. And at that time, it was just very easy to mine because nobody knew about it. So I was getting Dogecoin just by solving math problems with my computer, doing nothing, right? So, that was my history, and that's how I got into it, and I got really excited, right? But, fast forward, that's 10 years ago, right? And I invested 10 years ago, right? I got into it. But what I realized over the years, there's so much to learn. There's much more than just Bitcoin and Ethereum and Ruda is talking about, right? Now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the original kind of blockchains that have gained mass adoption. But there's many others out there, as Amrita mentioned, right? So as it evolved, what happened was, if I want to kind of take it back for a bit, right? We have Bitcoin that is proof of work, right? You're solving math problems and you're transferring money between entities. You have Ethereum, right? That kind of built on top of it from Vitaly Buterin, who was a teenager who invented this in 2013. And he created a smart contract allowing basically any kind of a software. He basically added a software development kit on top of it, allowing you to add any kind of code onto it to create an economy, right? So this is when the economy can come in and all new possibilities that I'll talk about in the next slide in a bit. But beyond that, what happened over the years was, if you talk about proof of work, it's very expensive to run a computer, and it takes on a lot of energy in your electric bills, right? To run these computers, and it's not great for the environment as well. So both Bitcoin and Ethereum are on proof of work, but ultimately we needed a better system. And this is when the past 5-6 years, new blockchains came, and they came up with a new concept called proof of stake. So rather than solving math problems, I'm going to put a stake of, let's say, my money, and I'm purchasing tokens for these blockchains in there. And I'm going to be a stake, I'm going to be an investor in this blockchain. So Ethereum is moving to the proof of stake, and that's why it's becoming even more popular. They haven't moved there yet, but they will. So once you have a proof of stake, I'm just confirming transactions because I have an investment in the blockchain. Now, all these coins are coming up because if you look here, the market value is very much lower than others, but they're rising because they have a newer technology. They're much faster, right? And there's more opportunities for developers to create businesses, entrepreneurs to create businesses on top of these blockchains. So if I were to kind of categorize the different ones that we have so far, right? I want to keep it very simple and really talk about, you might have heard stable coins. What are stable coins, right? Stable coins are coins that are pegged to a currency like a US dollar. So the one here you might see is a USDC coin or Tether, right? Those are pegged to the dollar. If you today go on an exchange in India and you purchase with your rupees, you can purchase a USDT, whatever your currency peg is, and you won't lose value, right? So you can keep it, and ultimately you can transfer money to your peers or to a business with a stable coin, right? Because sometimes Bitcoin, because it's going up and down as Ben's chart shows, right? It's kind of scary. And I think, if I were to invest, and by no means I'm providing investment advice, if you wanted to start with, a cryptocurrency, I would buy a USDT or a Tether or another equivalent, because you won't lose your value, right? But there are some risks, but keep in mind that's something a lot safer. And I'll tell you why that's very important later with stablecoin. But one thing I think that's more fun, I think in India, if you probably hear a lot about Shiba Inus, right? Like Shiba Inus and Dogecoins, those are the meme coins. They're really fun, right? Everyone's talking about it. I hear from my friends, my peers who talk about, oh, there's a holiday, hey, it's really a good time to buy Shiba Inus. Everyone should buy, so everyone should make money, right? Because those are fun. Everyone thinks it's fun, but ultimately, right, it's a blockchain. There's capabilities there that can help you. And then there's another one that I always want to talk about here within this audience, right? Polygon. That's an India-bred company, right? And it's very big, right? It started as a sidechain to Ethereum, but ultimately they became a blockchain for all other blockchains that they can interoperate. And there's a major economy that's sitting on top of that. So, you know, as you can see, there's many like this. And if we can go to the next slide, I can talk more about, you know, what the economy means to the cryptocurrency in the next few years and if not decades. Now, I know there's a lot of pictures here, so I'm just going to go through, but what I wanted to tell everyone, the possibilities of what crypto means to everyone here, right? And I do want to point out something. You know, if you think about the dawn of the internet, right? And that happened in the late 1990s, early 2000, right? And that changed the whole world, right? We all see that, right? With the internet, with the onset of mobile, right? All the new opportunities that it created for everyone here, including being on Zoom right now, right? There is so much opportunity and so much economic growth and opportunities for everyone. And I think everyone benefited. However, there is one piece that's missing to the internet. The internet required a centralized organization to transact the exchange of value, right? So I'm on the internet, right? Let's say I'm on Facebook, right? I can't really exchange value. I have to rely on Facebook to move the money, right? Or a bank. With blockchain, the exchange of value is going to be part of the internet, and this is the protocol of the future. And if you look at the adoption today, the internet the mass adoption happened in over maybe a 10-year period, right? This within 5 years, it's fast. It's gone more exponential than the internet adoption, right? So think about that. You might not realize, and it's only a few years old. And if you look at what's happening right now, I'm just going to focus on Ethereum because it is the #2 blockchain. There's many others out there. But if I look at the economy, there's this network effect where there's many businesses already built on top of the Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum is ultimately open source code that allows anyone to create applications on top of the Ethereum. So without going into details, because I think it might confuse you, right? But I'll tell some stories, right? You know, I see my son playing a lot of video games. I don't know if everyone has children here, but they love playing video games all day and night. And, you know, I thought about it. I was like, hey, if they're playing video games, my son's always asking me for money to purchase things on Roblox or Fortnite. I want to buy this weapon to do this. And I thought about it. I'm like, hey, you know, instead of you paying and Roblox or Fortnite making all the money, you know, why don't you play Axie Infinity, right? Which is a game on blockchain. And, you know, I had him play that game, and ultimately he's earning money playing that game. Now, not much money, but why are they earning money, right? It's because the blockchain allows everyone to benefit from something that they're doing, right? Because you get a piece of the pie. Ultimately, he becomes a shareholder because he's playing the game. And I can tell stories about, if you look up online, right? The Philippines and Venezuela, you have people playing games to support entire families today, right now, as we speak, millions of people, right? And think about how that can happen, right? And that happened because of the blockchain. You know, you might hear about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. You guys can ask questions about that, right? NFTs are a big thing. I'm getting this NFT. It's a piece of art that can be traded, and there's a value there, right? And in the past, it's all about the art community that has someone sells a really famous piece of art, and they ultimately they use it to trade and make money off of it because there's value to art. But think about the possibilities here, right? NFTs, you can sell your own art and ultimately trade it in a frictionless way through the internet, the future of the internet, right? Without a middleman. There's also, think about music and videos, right? Music today, it's run by, let's say, Apple or any other, like Spotify, right? They're the middlemen to pay the artists who made the music. Well, we can eliminate the middleman there with an NFT, right? That's on the NFT side. But think about decentralized finance. Some of you might have heard DeFi out there, right? Today in the financial systems, it's a centralized system, right? We have bank, we have a global system. Ben was talking about the SWIFT system, right? There's talks about being cut off from Russia, right? Well, with decentralized finance, it's finance that is not centralized, that lives on the blockchain. And if I were to summarize what that really means to everyone, I'll give you an example of what I do today, right? Again, not investment advice, but I realize I can become the bank. I can become a trade exchange because it's decentralized. So, today I purchased USDT, let's say stable coins, and I'm lending that out to create the liquidity on the crypto economy. And I'm getting paid for those fees, just like a bank. Or if someone is purchasing, wants to purchase, let's say Shiba Inus on an exchange, you can go on an exchange that's decentralized, and I can be the person that provides you the Shiba Inus and the rupee pairs for me to make money, right? Because you can buy something and I can make the fees, right? Just like any centralized exchange. And the great part of this is anyone can do this. It's a fair system. I really hope in the future it becomes a fair system, because obviously there's always some parts that can be tough, right? Because of people consolidating all the tokens, let's say. As you can see here, there's many ways and many opportunities, and what I call here, this is the Web3 opportunity, right? You have many businesses starting here. If I were to go to the infrastructure side here, what is that? Okay, I talked about mining and staking. This is what these companies are doing. They're literally running scripts on a computer, right, to mine coins, right? And today I'm mining coins as well, right? I run it and the computer works for me, right? And I see that as the future. There's also, you might think, okay, I don't know the blockchain technology, but you have to realize there's real world data that you have to onboard onto the blockchain as well. So there's many opportunities that you need to push data on there, right, to make that happen. So there's many companies doing that. One that comes to mind is Chainlink, right? They're the ones pulling in all the market data in the real world into the blockchain for the blockchain to operate. So, I think you guys, I'll leave this for more questions later, right? But if you look here, there's many businesses, right? And it's going to continue to grow, and I really hope for everyone to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you very much for that insight again. So we will go into our next part of the program, where I will call Sarang Bhai. But before that, just to get you refreshment, we are going to the next audio video section within 2 minutes. Then we will come again to Sarang Bhai. So in the meantime, Sarang Bhai, get ready to enlighten our audience.
Let's talk about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency isn't physical money. It exists only online. But remember, today most money exists online. Think about those paycheck deposits into your account, or how you can tap your debit card at a store. It's a digital currency that exists in zeros and ones in some computer somewhere. But that money is government issued, and as such, we all agree to respect it as being worth something. You, me, corporations, banks, we all adhere to the idea that $10 is $10. That's where cryptocurrency is different. It isn't issued by a government or a bank. Bitcoin was invented in 2008 by an anonymous inventor who calls themselves Satoshi Nakamoto. Nakamoto developed what's called a decentralized system. Now, a traditional bank is a centralized system. All payments enter and leave through one central hub. Whether a debit card on your account, or a check, or a request from a teller, if you make a deposit or a withdrawal at a bank, it's all recorded on the bank's ledger. Bitcoin uses a kind of ledger too, a decentralized virtual one. It's a string of letters and numbers that exists in the online world. In order for people to have trust in it, Bitcoin still needs to have checks and balances to be as secure as a national currency or money in the bank, and that's where Bitcoin's ledger comes in, called the blockchain. A blockchain is a time-stamped virtual ledger that holds a growing list of transactions. Each copy updates at the exact same time, keeping the system accurate, and the copies are updated through something called Bitcoin mining. Here's how. Some of the people holding the ledger are miners. They're not mining for gold or precious metals. Instead, their computers are put to work mining blocks of data. These blocks help them act as auditors for the blockchain. These miners are trying to check the letter number combination of that particular Bitcoin transaction. So they do this by solving a math puzzle unique to that transaction. Once the puzzle is solved and the miner finds the right number, it proves that this is the only time that Bitcoin has been sent. When all the people holding the ledger confirm they're on the same page, they record that transaction. How do miners get paid? You guessed it, Bitcoin. So the miners have an incentive to keep doing the auditing work and keep the currency going, meaning there's no need for a bank or government body to manage all that money. Even though all those Bitcoin transactions are public, we have no idea who the people behind them are. Like Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin's inventor, his or her or their identity is still a total mystery.
So that was much to take. You see, these are talking about billions and billions, millions and trillions. Okay, these are big numbers. So now I will call Sarang Bhai. So Sarang Bhai, you can come on the screen and you can enlighten the audience.
Thank you. Thank you, Amrita, Sadiki, and Ben. You guys are all experts on Bitcoin. But from our end, we just want to have a little bit of intro on the Bitcoin as well. I'm very new to blockchain and Bitcoin compared to Amrita, Ricky, and Ben, but I'll give a little highlight of the software side of it. So you can bring the slide. So I'm just trying to relate this to what Ricky was saying on prior slide. So all these crypto, these are all software programs. They are used for a different purpose. So how they're categorized? Some of them use as a currency, and let's pass one as a smart contract. So for simplicity, let's say most of software developers are here. So you know what is the operating system and what is the program. Let's say you have the Windows operating system and we have a Microsoft Excel running on top of it. I'm simplifying too much, but just to relate in blockchain, you think some of them are like operating system. So smart contracts are like the base on top of which other applications are built. So compared to the slide which Ricky showed on the previous slide, it was Ethereum, which is like operating system, which is like a smart contract. And all the applications which Ricky was saying, those are the applications built on those some smart contracts, or for my analogy, those are like operating system. So like Ethereum is a smart contract or operating system, and the applications are built on top of it. So those are basically different cryptocurrencies are developed for different purposes. So one is smart contract, one is DeFi, decentralized finance, which Ricky said he himself acting as a bank. And some of them are just currency. Bitcoin people use for currency. Some of the cryptocurrencies you can buy just to get the interest earning. So these are different categories. So you can maybe if we do future sessions, we will explain what is Web3, NFT. But what I'm trying to say is each of the cryptocurrencies are software programs developed with a purpose, and these are the purpose. For the smart contract, finance, currency, you can get interest. All the NFTs they are selling. Like previously, people used to do the auction for their paintings. Now they're sending on NFT. So NFT is also a platform, another crypto built on top of one of the platforms for smart contract. So I'm just trying to say there are different categories. So stablecoin, lending, borrowing, decentralized exchange, governance. These are different categories of all the cryptocurrencies which we saw already in the previous slide. Okay, now we can move to the next one. So what I was saying is the ones are the base or the blockchains. So those are called as layer one. And again, we are not going to too deep because we are like some of them didn't know what is Bitcoin while joining the program. So let's think this as operating system. Like again, I'm comparing to the prior slide which Ricky said about Ethereum. Like Ethereum, there are other ones. They are also the base cryptos on top of these other crypto applications that are built. So these are like base. your Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, Terra. These are the different types of like smart contracts with different protocols, which Ricky said, whether it's POS, POW, or sharding. Those are different types of technology used, and we will not go deep into that. Just I'm saying, what I'm saying, these are the base on which other applications are based. And then technical they call as layer 1 or layer 2. And again, as I said, not going too technical, just trying to categorize the cryptos which have been explained. So, okay. And now I'll explain mostly the software side of it. How much software, how much developers are involved, how much growth is there, what language will you use software. There are lots of software programmers joined today. What languages they can use to do the development. So those are the aspects I'm trying to cover. So next slide. So this shows how it is growth. So it is a graph between 2020, 2021, and how is the growth of the developer involved. I am talking about only software developers. So from the graph itself, you see there is something called Ethereum with Bitcoin, Polkadot, Solana. These are the different cryptocurrencies, and the base currencies or layer on currency, which are like operating system, and these are number of how the developers have grown since last 2 years. Just trying to say. Next one. Just quickly go through the growth, software development growth on this page. And this is the growth for the Bitcoin, the software development compared to like from 2010 until 2020. Okay. Go to next one. Again, I'm relating to Ricky's slide. Ethereum is very popular. And if you think, again, let's say you have Linux operating system. There are so many operating systems. Your Linux operating system is more popular, let's say. And most of the softwares are getting developed on top of it. Similarly, Ethereum is very popular. And on top of it, lots of software is getting developed. And because of this is the growth in Ethereum. Okay. So this is active developers, these are the software developers who are working on it. And this has been the growth since 2015 to 2020. Okay, next one. Again, so we talked about Bitcoin and blockchain. Apart from Bitcoin, there are other ones which are really gaining popularity, like Ethereum, Polkadot, Cosmos, Solana. These are all new platforms, and there are more as the technology is changing compared to even current software compared to a prior very old operating system like DOS to different platforms. So since the new technologies are coming, these new currencies or blockchain technologies are getting popular. Because for Bitcoin to mine, they used to need huge computer and resource. Now this the term which Ricky said, POS, point of stake, compared to POW, those are the new technology introduced, and that's why all these new currencies are getting momentum and more development work is happening on those cryptos. Okay, so this is the graph that says how this new one like Solana, Cosmos, and Polkadot is growing along with the Bitcoin method. Next, and one of the crypto is really got very like popular last year. It's called Solana. See the graph, if you see, it's almost 4 times growth. Like Solana, there are other ones called Near, Polygon, Cardano, Kusama. So what we are trying to say, we are not trying to go too deep, just understand the terms and words. That way, when if you have interest on crypto, at least you can search or work on those, try to understand what are these cryptocurrencies. Even if you invest also, you know, okay, I should pick the safer ones where there are more development and money is being invested. So that's the whole purpose of this seminar, just to know it's not only the Bitcoin, there are other currencies also where the work is going. Okay, so this is just I'm trying to say the way Bitcoin was or Ethereum was growing compared to few years back. Now this is the growth or the development based on the new cryptos which are coming into the market like Solana, Polkadot, Cardano, and Polygon. Okay, next one. Same thing, another graph. those are like, if you again comparing this to these are the medium range. If you are in stock market, you know, large cap stocks or mid cap stocks like that. There are some cryptos. You can see these are mid cap. They're like, if you see the ecosystem, there may be 51 to 33,000 developers. So these are smaller ones, but see the growth. Okay. So these are the names: Terra, ICP, Phantom. So these are new cryptos, and they are also development growth is really fast compared to 2020 and 2021. So we are just trying to talk about the ecosystem, not only the Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. These are new terms you take home and just research on that. What if you are in software field or you are in investment? Just try to understand what is the purpose, what they are doing, what is being developed. Like if you are giving the game of his son who is in maybe in elementary school, and he is now getting, like, how he converted him from just playing simple game to play the same game in the blockchain, and he is getting return. So if you know this stuff, at least you will research and have the idea of all those cryptos in the market. Okay. Next one. So this is whatever I was saying. This is just a summary of the development, software development growth on these new ones, which are, most of them may not have heard. If you heard Bitcoin, you may not heard this term like Phantom, Solana, ICP, Near, Terra. So better to understand these technologies. Don't do anything or don't invest money. Just understand what is happening, what development is happening, what is the purpose of these cryptos, and as a software developer, can you work on it? Can you contribute beyond your office work? If you think you have interest, you have some passion working on it, you can work on it. Okay, so that's trying to so okay. Next one, and this is the last slide. If you are a developer, your current skill, you don't need to learn anything new language to involve in the software development of crypto. Yeah, Solidity and Rusty are the new terms, but apart from that, most software developers, they know Java, Python, JavaScript, PHP, C++, C#, only it's the same technology, and and there are open forums, there are SDKs. So basically, so these are the softwares being used to develop all the cryptos. And if you need any reference, we will share in our website. And some of the links I provided, if you want to do a, let's say, Solana developer. There is a Solana link I provided, and there is enough document online. Programs are there. And again, if you are not software developer, you may not heard of this term called Git or GitHub. But if any of the software, there are lots of software developers here, they know what is Git. And there are lots of codes are there on the GitHub. You can look into those codes for the application. Like recently, there's a payment system developed on Solana called Solana Pay. Okay, so those code and everything you can see on the GitHub, and you can provide those links on our website. So these are summary. We don't want to again like overload everyone. We said some people don't know crypto, and we don't want to completely like go too deep into it. Just we are throwing some terms. So when you go home, go back, at least you research on those technologies, crypto. So at least at the end of the session, you know what is crypto, what is trading, what is mining, what is Ethereum. At least you have some idea and how this payment system works, why you don't need a middleman. Those are the things to take back from this seminar, and if needed, we can have a follow-up session on specific technology. Okay, that's all. Back to Kasmir.
Thank you very much, Sarang Bhai. So now back to everyone. So we have our panelists ready now. So Ricky, Ben, Amrita, Sarang Bhai, and Subrat Bhai, I will put all of you on the screen because we got enough questions. But due to lack of time, we will take few questions from all those stuffs, and we will ask one by one to all of our panelists. So answer these questions. So welcome to the panel, everyone. So there are much questions coming in the chat box for all of our audiences. Thank you for your patience and the coordination. Today, we'll ask as much as question we can do today, but if we can't, we will refer those questions to our expert panels. When they will give us the answers, we will put it in the YouTube channel, because we will put this video on the YouTube for our future reference. So you can get your answers from there. So kindly cooperate, and we will go for our next part of the program. Those are the questions, whatever I received. I will ask one by one to our panels. But again, so like before we said, and we have published it the same thing also, I am repeating it again. Please do not take this workshop as an advertisement of Bitcoin or promotion of Bitcoin. We are trying our best to enlighten you the fundamentals of Bitcoin. So the disclaimer says the information contained in this webinar is of a general nature and not intended to be construed as an investment, tax, or legal advice. All investments are subject to market risk, including the loss of principal too. So be aware of that and beware of that. So thank you very much. So now let's go back to our questions. So first question is for Ricky. Hi, Ricky. The question is, I'm interested in investing Bitcoin, but I cannot afford to buy 1 Bitcoin. Is it possible to buy a fraction of it? So you can unmute. Ben, Ricky, Amrita, everybody stay unmuted, please. Yeah, Ricky, your question, please.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for the question, right? And I know 1 Bitcoin today is almost 40,000 US dollars, which is probably a salary, right, for people over many years, right? So, but the short answer is yes, you can buy a fraction. You can buy 0.00001 a fraction of Bitcoin, right? So, you know, it's any denomination, right? Because ultimately it's a number. And, you know, someone mentioned here that you can, you know, what apps are good for Bitcoin trading, right? And there's many. Right, with a decentralized form, you can purchase Bitcoin anywhere, but if you're talking about India, right, I'll defer to others here who live in India who can share that info.
Okay, that's great to know. So now I'm putting our website ID for everyone. So from here, you can go to our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, our YouTube. So as you will edit and put the YouTube link, you can get it there. Now, coming to the next question, it is for Amrita. Hey, Amrita. The question comes, who controls Bitcoin?
So we just talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Bitcoin is not controlled by a central authority. It's controlled by all the people participating in the network and all of the miners that are transacting to verify those transactions. So it's controlled by computers. It's not controlled by any person. So with that said, the value of Bitcoin, there are whales, as they're called in the market, that pump in a lot of money to suddenly raise the price of Bitcoin, or that try to pull out a lot of money so once the price goes up. So there are some parties which have that potential of making the price go up and down, but that it's still a new currency relatively, and it will take some time to stabilize. So while there is no one central authority controlling it, there are factors that can influence the price of Bitcoin.
Thank you, Amrita. Hey, Ben, now the question comes to you now. So the question is that, is Bitcoin for illegal activities? This is a tricky question, Ben.
So the Bitcoin was not designed for illegal activities. However, probably the first group of people that joined, or there's probably a good like 25% of the people that are doing illegal activities. There's a whole group of people called the Silk Road, and it was basically trading of probably drugs and other bad things on using cryptocurrency. Because think of the characteristics of cryptocurrency. It's pseudonymous. It's like almost like an anonymous system. And it's almost a perfect environment for illegal activities to take place. So there is definitely a component of cryptocurrencies that's used for illegal purposes, but it wasn't designed that way, and its primary purpose is for the selling and buying of goods.
Thank you. Okay. So you all heard it, what Ben said, okay? So nothing to worry. Just read. Okay, Amrita, you stay unmuted and say what you are going to say. Yeah.
I just want to add that bad activities did not start with Bitcoin. Bad actors existed way before the existence of Bitcoin, and they will continue to exist. They just need a mode of transacting. So the problem is not Bitcoin. The problem is what fuels those bad actors. And there are different
with any format of money, you can do bad activities.
Exactly.
That is not exactly. So, okay. Now coming back to Ricky again, I am hearing Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. Is that true?
Short answer, not true. However, I'll go with what Amruta said, right? Bad actors will always be there, right? And bad actors want to centralize, right? The more power they have, the more centralization that they have, the more schemes they can create, right? Amruta talked about the whales with their flow of money, right? Because blockchain and cryptos are decentralized, they're trying to come in with lots of money to kind of overwhelm the market to take control of the blockchain. They're not allowing that, right, with the blockchain, which is great. But keep in that mind, you know, I wouldn't say Ponzi schemes are there, but you'll always have those bad actors, right? And you'll hear the term of a rug pull, right? And a lot of times you have people just introducing a coin, everyone's investing in it, and then they just pull out, they disappear overnight, right? Stuff like that will happen. And that's why, you know, do your research, right? If you're interested in this space.
Yes. So just like the gun is not bad, but who is holding the gun and how he is using the gun, it depends, right? Okay. So Ben, it is an easy question for you being an expert. Where can I buy Bitcoin?
Yeah, as I explained, there are different applications that you can use to buy Bitcoin. I started with Coinbase, and then like I mentioned, there's others like Kraken, Gemini, FTX. There might be ones that are specific in India that I don't know about, but yeah, you can just get an account.
Okay, so next question to Ricky. Is Ethereum the same as Bitcoin?
Underneath, the blockchain is the same. It's the same concept. However, there's differences, right? I mentioned before, Ethereum, well, Bitcoin is exchange of value, right? Mainly with transfers of funds, but Ethereum, you have an economy on top of it. But fundamentally, it's the same because Bitcoin can change into a more a blockchain that has more utility as well.
Okay. So Amrita, the question is it true that we can trade 24/7?
Unmute.
Unmute. Stay unmuted, Amrita. Don't mute.
Okay. Yes, you can trade 24/7. It's not like you have to wait for the stock market bell to ding. The cryptocurrency exchanges are available 24/7, and you can keep trading 365 days a year.
Yeah, so no need to wait for the bank to open in the morning, 9 o'clock, right? So 24/7. The business.
I wanted to add something too, right? Because I'll share a quick story, right? You know, my daughter just turned 13. In her generation, she doesn't want fiat currency. She's like, Dad, I want Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then, you know, she gives me the fiat currency. I give her the Bitcoin. She goes on the exchange. She deploys a AI bot, a trading bot, to trade for her. 24/7 without the emotions, right? And making money that way.
Thank you, Ricky. So I appreciate because you are teaching the financial thing to your kids so that in the future they can be another Warren Buffett or somebody else. Oh my goodness. That's going great, Ricky. Okay, the question goes to Sarangbhai. What are relatively safer cryptocurrencies?
So if someone is new in cryptocurrency, I think they should not like venture into new areas because see, there are, as you said, there are bad actors. Similarly, here also there will be some currencies, some like new ones coming, going, and again you are compared to stock market. Let's say there are some they call it penny stocks or something. You don't invest there. You go to the if you're in US stock market, you go to FANG. You go to FANG. US is popular, either Facebook, Amazon, or Apple, Netflix, Google. If you invest, you won't lose, right? Those are the good companies. Similarly, if you are explore only the top ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, top 2, 3, whatever popular there. So basically, try to invest little on those and see how it goes. If you are not very new to crypto, and go with good exchanges like Coinbase. In India, I think there are 2 popular ones. So go with good exchanges and only in the top ones. Invest very little and see how it goes.
Okay. So sorry for my ignorance, dear all audiences. You are putting so much deep and dived into questions. So today we are doing only fundamentals. So I'm asking only fundamental based questions because the questions are coming so depth. My goodness. Okay, you are much clever than us. So now the question goes to Ricky. Do I need to be super rich to invest in cryptocurrencies?
Can you say that again? Do I need to
be super rich to invest in cryptocurrencies?
No, you don't need to. You can have 1 rupee or $1 and you can purchase, or you can ask someone to send you something.
Okay, so you can be super rich when you invest in cryptocurrencies, but you need not to be super rich to invest in super currencies. Okay,
right.
Great, good. So now, Amrita, can my account be hacked?
Okay, so there are various ways to think about this. One is if you go through an exchange, the one, for example, that Ben mentioned, which initially you need to go through an exchange to be able to purchase a cryptocurrency. If you decide to keep your money in that exchange is like any other company or institution that has the potential of getting hacked. So yes, that can get hacked. At the same time, there are different ways to take your money out of that exchange. So you can have a hardware wallet or a software wallet where you can extract your money to. So once you buy it through the exchange, you can send it to your own wallet and you can store the money in there. So at that point, it cannot be hacked. But then the responsibility of keeping that secure and making sure that you track that information and you don't lose that information, that is all on you. Because if it gets lost, nobody else knows it because it's anonymous. It's anonymous. And you have the responsibility of taking care of it. So it's pros and cons. If you are an expert at cryptography and understand how wallets work, make sure you do your research, understand that. And once you do that, if you have big investments, you can move that to your own hardware or software wallet. But if you are somebody that is taking care, participating and just trying to learn about the system, you can go to cryptocurrency exchanges, look for reputed ones, look for ones that have good reviews, look for ones which are legally operating in the country that you're in. And then you can start with there. And then as you get more advanced, move to your own wallet.
Thank you. Thank you, Amrita.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I'm a prime example of not following my wallet.
I wanted you to tell that story.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had my wallet in my Samsung phone and I migrated to iPhone and I didn't transfer that app, my wallet over. So, and I deleted everything off my Samsung. So I lost my Ethereum in the other phone.
And you can't get it back.
You can't get it back.
Okay, so you heard it, right? So take one. First, be an expert in using the software of your phone, transference of detail and everything. Because, when we are learning English in India back home during our 3rd or 4th grade, they used to teach us English. So the teacher used to say, money, 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 sweeter than honey, brighter than sunshine. So this is all our story about money, dear. But sometimes it is a taste bitter too when you lose like Ben, some money, definitely. So, okay, now we will go from some questions back from home. So the question comes like this, and I want Ricky to take it. So everyone is talking about investing in Bitcoins, but at the same time, it's been said that it's risky as holding a sand in your hand, as Indian government may have indifferent policies on Bitcoin for our country.
Yeah, I mean, it is risky, right? Because you have to think about the regulation. I think a lot of countries, including India, are concerned about how Bitcoin will operate, right? So there is risk, right? But you just have to assess. And what I would like to say is, if you look at some other countries out there, Ukraine, El Salvador, Bitcoin is legal tender. Some countries are not there yet. In my opinion, it might be there one day. But keep in mind, it's not just Bitcoin that you can invest in, right? You can invest in stable coins, right? Or even at some point, if India issues a central bank digital currency, a CBDC, you can onboard your rupees onto that digital currency and then purchase cryptocurrencies that you feel comfortable with, right? Because Bitcoin, it is going up and down, and it's not for everyone, right? So it's up to you and your risk profile.
Okay, good. So next question to Ben. So when the question comes, I invested because I enlightened by Google, by Wikipedia, by some person, and I invested 1,500 Canadian dollars. Now what next?
So I'm assuming he's invested into some sort of cryptocurrency. So I am not. I am an investor as opposed to a trader. So of course, a trader probably would trade and make money off the cryptocurrency. But as an investor, I do not invest in cryptocurrency for the sake of trying to make money off of the thing. But I mean, as a trader, you probably could sit on it and, you know, over time, definitely you will make money.
Okay, that's good. Okay, now the next question comes with multiple layers. So I think I will give it to Amrita. So Amrita, the question comes, who controls Bitcoin network? Number one. What are the advantages of Bitcoin? Number two. How difficult is to make Bitcoin payment? Number three. What is step to use it for a beginner? 4. I think most of the question we answered in the thing, but you can give a precise answer on that.
Sure. So who controls the Bitcoin network? Again, we talked about that. It's a decentralized network. You have various parties that are participating in it, people who are trading or who are mining. And all of those people, when they're working on that network, they are controlling the network. The advantages of Bitcoin is that it's a decentralized network. It is not dependent on a certain central authority. It is global. So I can send a Bitcoin to you right now sitting in India. If we had to do a money transfer of converting USD, I have to send that to another bank in India, and then it needs to go to Indian currency. That takes time. It's a process of currency conversion, etc. There are the various advantages of Bitcoin also, which, you know, you're able to trade in it 24/7, 365 that we talked about. What was the third question? Sorry.
Okay. The third question is, how difficult is to make a Bitcoin payment?
So it depends on the exchange that you're using. If you're, you know, if you have your money in your wallet, you'd first need to take it to an exchange and then transfer it to whoever is accepting that Bitcoin. So usually the way it will work is that the party that is accepting the payment from you, they will have an address that they will say that this is where you need to send it. And then you need to be able to go into your exchange, understand how the UI of that exchange works, etc., and then make sure that you're putting in the right address, make sure you don't send it to the wrong address. So you need to be very careful about how you're doing this, because again, it's pseudonymous. It won't show me when I'm trying to do a Zelle payment or something, for example, it shows me that this so-and-so is the name of the person associated with this phone number. So you won't have that kind of convenience. So you need to be very careful in making sure that you have the right address that you're sending it to, so you send it to the right party. So you need some level of expertise, and before making huge payments, I would say first try sending a very minuscule amount to make sure that you have the right target party, and then send your actual transaction. And I'm sorry, what was the last question?
What is the step to use it for a beginner?
Step to use it for a beginner is, I would say, first figure out what amount of risk you're willing to take, and put that money into an exchange, open an account on a cryptocurrency exchange, and then use that to buy some Bitcoin.
Thank you. Thank you, Amrita. And this is our last question for Ben, because the time is going high. It is Sunday here in North America and night there in India. So this crypto asset is changing its price level 400 to 400 times. Much more than the real estate, sometimes, which is creating problem for the government as they regulate money and price level in the states. Can't we assume one day less than 0.00001% holders of cryptos in the world will have the power in their backend and manipulate against socialist norms? Ben, it is a serious question.
Wow. Yeah, there is this all this. I think that's similar to what the Ponzi scheme question is, too. Which is, so the problem is you don't want to have a central authority, especially inside a cryptocurrency, which was designed not to have a central authority. So you hope more people participate so that there's no central control over the price of that cryptocurrency. And we want more people to participate or be using the cryptocurrency as a means of transaction. And that's the way to defeat it. If someone ends up buying up it's not designed to have a single controller over the crypto, right? And the way to defeat it is having more users.
So yeah, I'll add one more 2 points here. If you are observing Bitcoin, at least I am observing since 2017, it will be more volatile that time. Within the night, it will drop 60%. Someone say, okay, there is a power cut in China, in some province, and some of the miners, they are not able to log in. So you don't hear that now. Now the mining has been spread. Few years back, there were 80% was in maybe 70-80% was in China. Now mostly mining is stable, it's spread across US, Texas, plus the adoption. Now banks, Fidelity, big companies. So basically, as Ben said, more people to adopt. Adoption is there. It's not only for people, mostly even for institutes, they keep that for hedging. Instead of gold, they're going there. If it's spread across and hedged and the supply is limited, multiple people own it, you may not see that much volatility. And we don't see nowadays like dropping 60% overnight to 50%, going up 50%. And that may be one of the reasons, because it's mostly mining is stable and your spread is stable, more adoption, institutions are adopting. And that could be one of the reasons that yes, only very few may not have full control on it.
And let me state, just to add some more validity to cryptocurrency, about 30% of industries are now using cryptocurrency, and countries like El Salvador, of course, Ukraine, have adopted cryptocurrency and they're proposing it as their main currency. So as more users go in there, countries, industry, it'll make it more stable.
Okay. So thank you everyone for joining us. That was the last question for Ben, but there are still 150 questions with me. So if I will list it out, but no, not today. We will come back again for all of you. And thank you all for joining us today. It was an amazing experience with you all. And the questions we are getting, we are too getting enlightened. So you see, in the beginning, if you can say 10,000 BC, the barter system started. Then comes the cattle exchange, then cowrie sales, then comes metal and money coins, then modern coinage, then leather money, then the nose, then the paper currency, then potluck, then wampum, then gold standard, then end of the gold standard, then in the present we have electronic money, and we are here in the Bitcoin. But to speak in Oriya, because I think most of our audience today is Oriya, I will say, आपण पिला दिने गोटे कथा सुनिथिबे, पानी पीबो छाणी पैसा नबो गणी. जदि आपण पानी छाणी किरी न पिउ नाहंती कि पैसा भले कि गणी कि न नौ नाहंती, ताहले the risk is yours. So Ricky, Ben and Amrita, I think I will translate it. They say you have to drink water after filtering only. So filter the water before drink. And when you invest in money, first count and go ahead. So or else risk is yours. So with that, we will close this session, and we have taken all of your questions. We will try to put these questions for our panelists, and we will request them to answer them, and we can send back to you. And dear all, whenever you will join next time, along with your question, put your email ID and phone number so that we can answer it back to you. We are trying our best to help you, assist you, support you, but your cooperation and coordination were amazing today. And we like the way you heard, and your presence shows your interest. We will come back. We will come back for sure with the second session at a much higher level. So slowly and slowly, we will go ahead on, okay? With that, I will hand it over to Sarang Bhai to give the vote of thanks today. So Sarang Bhai, you can do the vote of thanks today, and we will close the session after that.
Thank you, and thank you, team. And like that, I know how precious is that time for Ricky, Ben, and Amrita, and getting like the Sunday morning at 2 hours is not easy. So on behalf of personally plus on behalf of Global Audio Volunteers, really thank you all for joining this session. And we're lucky that we know this much experts on this area. You will never find someone working or knowing the crypto for last 10 years. So we're all lucky, and thanks for all the timing and you have provided. Okay. And we have one more, one of our founder just came, Ganesh. Can you give vote of thanks? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, unmute Ganesh bhai.
Hello, thank you, Ben, and rest of the panel members. And thank you very much. Thanks for your time. I was a little bit busy here and there, but it's okay. And we will continue this session and in near future, and definitely. And thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for your time, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Subrat bhai, for collaborating the event, Ben, Amrita, and everybody. So we will come with the next session, and you will be informed accordingly with our flyer, Twitter, Instagram, everything. So seeing you again.